Once again, I get to greet you. It's been quite a while. What a ride we've all been through.
Hello, everyone. My name is Gintare,
My name is Lily.
and we're the co-founders of
The Third Space.
where we combine technology and art to create unique and immersive experiences.
So, who are we? It's easy to introduce ourselves based on our title, a simple one-liner where our job defines who we are. But who is my friend and co-founder Gintare? Well, her LinkedIn profile says she is the innovation lead at SAP. But what you probably don't know is that she's worked across 3 continents, from Europe to US to Asia. She's a classically trained pianist, an IMDb-listed filmmaker with a master's in politics. She's worked in luxury consulting, is a fashion designer, and is a design thinking expert.
Wow, Lily, what sounds like a superwoman, making me blush already. But on the same note, who is Lily Wu? Her LinkedIn says she's startup partner lead at Stripe. But not many people know that she's a 2-time 7-figure entrepreneur, Scholastic published children's book author. She's a Tidal World Championship competitor, an NFT founder, and the UN speaker for Women in Blockchain.
15 years of schooling trains us to think that our futures, our careers happen in a linear way. You go to school, you graduate, you work at the same job for 40 years, you retire, then you basically die.
But it's not so rare nowadays to meet someone who's a YouTube or a TikTok creator while they're still in high school. Maybe your own colleague in their 40s decides to do a mid-career switch into Web3. And on a plane, you randomly strike a conversation with a banker just turned social entrepreneur after a life-changing trip. And their career trajectories are way more likely to look something like this.
This is because the world is full of black swan events. Technology is changing at a rapid pace. New jobs, new titles like Chief Metaverse Officer are coming to life. And no one could have predicted that this is how the world would change.
So how do we prepare for the unknown? It all comes down to mindset shift.
A shift to stay hungry and curious, to learning how to connect the dots, and having the courage to be a beginner time and time again.
So let us tell you our own stories. How does an artist end up in business and tech? And how does a filmmaker end up in innovation?
So I grew up in a very artistic environment. My parents are both artists, and I always thought that I would become a graphic designer or an animator. But when I was 16, I started my first business out of necessity. During the financial crisis, since my parents were both in China, I was living by myself for months. And after unsuccessfully trying to find part-time jobs at McDonald's, I decided to arbitrage a popular shoe design from the US and started selling them in Australia. My minimum viable product was 1 Excel sheet, 1 Word document, 1 Facebook page. By the time I had finished high school 2 years later, I had profited around $500,000. Before this, I had zero interest in business. I didn't even know what the word entrepreneurship meant. But by becoming one by chance, I learned the skills of starting something from nothing, how to be resourceful, and how to work around any problems that came my way. Being an artist was the key to me becoming the entrepreneurial person I am today. You might be wondering, what does being an artist have anything to do with entrepreneurship? But like this artwork, you have to start somewhere. If you don't take action, this sheet of paper remains as it is, a blank piece of paper. Today's world is constantly reinventing, and being a creator requires you to dare to start even when there are many unknowns. Even when you face a roadblock like this ink blotch right here, you learn to work around it, and it becomes a beautiful part of your journey.
On a similar note, I was born in Lithuania, and at the age of 15, I moved to the United States on my own to follow the dream of becoming a filmmaker. At that time, I thought that to become the best at film meant learning a set of specific skills, like script writing and cinematography and lighting and sound and editing. And I believe if I become best at those, I'll be the best filmmaker. But it didn't take me long to realize that no matter how many hours I put into learning those hard skills, I really couldn't see my growth as a storyteller. It was very difficult to come up with exciting stories, create that connection to the audience, if I never really lived it. And it was only when I started looking for my why I wanted to be a filmmaker in the first place, I found the courage to let go of that title and just let my curiosity lead me. Instead of boxing myself into an area of specific interest for my career, I started looking for things that would get me out into the world, help me live through stories each and every single day. From first learning about augmented and virtual reality at Stanford to then hustling my way in London at a creative agency and developing emerging technology for luxury brands, all it took was for me to be okay to be a beginner and learn new skills from scratch. It was that curiosity that helped me build on top of what I learned in film. And it is also what brought me here to Singapore.
And it was right here that this Australian Chinese and this Lithuanian American met. We were immediately connected by how our diverse experiences shaped our worldview. During COVID, Gintare and I decided to utilize our experiences and skills to build the third space, a concept that brings together art, technology, and interesting spaces to utilize all of your different senses.
We saw how hospitality industry was suffering and how tourism had come to an immediate standstill. Wanting to support local Singaporean businesses, we took Lily's hand-drawn art and brought it to life through technology and created a truly immersive experience that could be adapted from dining to exhibitions to activations that bring people together.
As creators, we're here to connect the dots. We want to partner with travel and hospitality venues, organizations that, like us, want to elevate the human experience and connect people in this new world.
So really, what does it mean to be this new creator? What does it mean to be creative? Fundamentally, it comes down to three things.
The first thing is be a doer. It doesn't matter what you don't know. It's about your ability to learn new things and try. Be curious. Be a beginner. Be a self-starter. Just like my experience in learning Web3 and becoming an NFT founder, and Gintare's experience in new technologies, we're always trying to find new ways to learn and try new things. Just like in the third space, we contacted restaurants, we set milestones for our art, even with full-time jobs. We networked, and then we made things happen.
The second thing is be a problem solver. There are a million of unknowns in the world, and anything can happen. So the best preparation for any challenge is your ability to adapt. Even when we faced roadblocks with a third space, when our first business partner went out of business, we saw it as a redirection. And as a result, we're standing here in front of you today on the stage.
The final aspect of being a creator in this new world is your ability to connect the dots. Creativity comes from lateral thinking, which basically means how you can take something from an unrelated field, find commonalities, and apply it in a completely new way. It's how innovation happens. Just like how we translated our skills from art to entrepreneurship, from filmmaking to technology, we're always trying to find ways to connect the dots and bringing things to life that never existed before.
The future of creators lies in how we adopt all parts of who we are, not just our job titles and job scopes, but all the talents and skills to create the new world.
In the end, we're all here today where Singapore has connected us together.
So let's create together as the doers,
as the problem solvers,
as the connectors.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay.